Picture this, a wonderful desert oasis with tons of green chili. And this oasis isn't just a figment of one's imagination, but a wonderful place and my home that I like to call Hatch.
One of the most significant things I think that kind of keynotes New Mexico from everybody else is the fact that we have the green chili crop. The green chili only had a shelf life of maybe through Christmas, and if you didn't have it dried, you were out of luck because you didn't have any more green chili for the rest of the year. So what they used a lot of was red chili that was ground. And I can remember my mother buying chili from farmers, from the back of the farmer's truck, and it would be in bags, and it wasn't plastic bags either. It was back in those days, it was paper bags. And the first thing that the women would ask the farmer was, are you sure there's no brick ground into this? Apparently what they would do is they would give additional weight to the chili they ground by grinding some brick in there or a little bit of dirt, red dirt, into the chili to make it weigh more and to basically con the poor women.
Some of my earliest memories, I guess, are of remembering the smell of chili in our neighborhood, because people would be roasting chili in the fall. My dad would go buy sacks and sacks of chili. He'd put it in big buckets full of water and clean it up, and then we'd get a fork and we'd punch some holes in it, and then he'd put them in a rotisserie on a grill, and we'd roast it. And it would take the entire weekend to roast all the chili.
I recall going to sell chili in Santa Fe up and down Canyon Road, and they were all probably Hispanic families. And then a few of the Anglo families started moving in, and sometimes you'd knock on the door and you knew that they were blonde and perhaps they weren't Hispanic, and you would apologize and say, I'm sorry, but you'd walk away, and because you knew they didn't want any chili. So later on we started selling more chili, I think, to Anglos than to the Hispanic population. So we used to charge a little more.
New Mexico's the land in which my heart lies. My palate even more so, heaven knows. From southern Hatch straight up to North Chimayo, this state is where my favorite chili grows. I always ask for red on enchiladas, and green, of course, in my green chili stew. For huevos rancheros I get Christmas. You'll find it in my chocolate candy too. I roast 100 pounds most every autumn. By January 1 I need some more. I'm devoted to the fruit they call the chili. Capsicum is what I'm living for.
I know I have the original, authentic Chimayo seed from my grandpa and grandma, that I know. And then what you do in the process every year that you grow your garden or you grow your chili, you save the seed for the following year. You're always saving seed. You always, every time you dry red chili, you always separate the seed and you store it. You keep storing seed, and you store every year, no matter how much you have. You never waste it. You don't dispose of it. And you've got to maintain that seed, because if not, you would lose the authentic quality of the seed, because you could introduce some other type of chili or some other type of seed.
Chimayo is a small community, and in order to actually call Chimayo chili, it has to be planted there. It has to be planted in Chimayo to be designated as Chimayo chili.
One of the most important aspects about Chimayo chili is it was brought here with the Spaniards, and it's adapted to the environment, it's adapted to the climate, it's adapted to the soil. You can't take this seed and you can't take it anywhere else and get the same results with it. It just won't work. even we tried to grow some of our Chimayo chili seed. We tried to transplant it first of all, and then we also tried to put it on drip irrigation, and it did not work. Did not like it. And it's almost like this old seed telling us, no, we want it the way it's always been. We want flood irrigation. We want to be planted from seed, and that's it. So that's just a really special part of the crops of northern New Mexico.
Chimayo chilies, because they're such old strains, are shorter generally, smaller chilies, a little bit more wrinkly chilies. You don't get these big banana chilies like you do down in Hatch. And in Hatch you get bigger chilies because they've been actually bred to be bigger chilies.
With these land-raised seeds, there is no mild, hot, medium. That doesn't exist. That exists, that's been created in laboratories. I mean, certainly in the varieties of chilies that you have, the big chili poster, you have some chilies that are hotter than others. But, for this variety of chili, the only way you can get a mild, a medium, and a hot is if somebody does it in a lab, and then they give you the seed, and then you grow that variety. So with this land-raised seed chili, there's a great deal of consistency, from chili to chili. And it's always going to be within a range of heat. You're not going to get a chili that has almost no flavor.
Chimayo chili is very, very good, and I really enjoy it. The only thing is, in northern New Mexico, because they have such a short growing season, it's very, very hot. They are not, because they don't have a long enough growing season, they can't grow the mild and the medium. So they can't grow a big gym in Chimayo. So people who live in northern New Mexico, they like the really, really hot because that's all they've been introduced to.
Chilies are known for their heat, and a lot of the medicinal effects of chilies come from their heat. So how do we calculate the heat? The heat in chilies are calculated in what's called Scoville units. Scoville was a person who decided he wanted to develop a standardized, albeit subjective, measure for developing the heat of chilies. And what he would do was take a drop of the oil, which contains something called capsaicin, which is what makes chilies hot. There's many different kinds of capsaicinoid compounds in a chili, but capsaicin is the one that's most associated with the heat. And so he would take a drop of that and begin to dilute it. And he would dilute it to the point where people would say, it's not hot anymore. I can't taste anything at all. And pure capsaicin, if we were to take a drop of the oil and put it on somebody's tongue, it's registered as 16 million Scoville units. So that's very hot. And just as a reference point, sweet bell peppers would have a Scoville score of 0. Chilies all belong to the genus of capsicum, which is a group of plants, and there's hundreds of plants in this genus. And some of them are hot, some of them are less hot, and even ones that are hot, there's going to be an interaction between the genetical makeup of the plant and the area where it's grown.
There are 5 domesticated species of chili peppers and probably well over 300 or 400 cultivated varieties. New Mexico chilies are just one subset of the entire species Capsicum annuum. And the largest countries for producing chilies are China and India. And they produce far more than the United States. But within the context of the United States, New Mexico produces more chilies than all the other states combined.
The history of Hatch and the way that the chili became famous, it was kind of a fluke. What happened was several years ago, people were growing the chili and, selling it to other parts of the country, and people would say, oh, I'm going to go to Hatch and get my chili because this was the largest producing area. And we have just the right altitude, the right soil content, the right weather and everything to grow the chili, the best tasting chili. And so what we did was, in 1962, they had a contest at the legislature because there was a place in Deming, there's a place in Roswell that grows chili, and they said, oh, we have chili just as good as that. We should be the chili capital. and they wanted the title. So the legislator had a big contest and had, we sent chili up there, cooked it for them and everything. And we won, hands down.
There's no such thing as a hatch chili. You hear this term bandied about all the time, and every roadside stand claims that their chilies are from Hatch, and it's impossible. Hatch doesn't grow very many chilies. It's a tiny place. It's part of the lower Rio Grande Valley in New Mexico, and just about anything that's grown in that valley, starting from Elephant Butte Lake down to the border with Texas, is claimed to be Hatch, but it's no way it could possibly be. So Hatch is not a variety of chili like Chimayo is. Hatch is just a geographical region that throws a chili festival and has become famous for its chili, even though very little of the chili claimed to be Hatch is actually grown there.
Now, one of the biggest pleasures that I have as mayor of the village of Hatch is annually to come up and crown the queen of the Hatch Chili Festival. So without further ado, I'm going to give the mic back to wonderful Wade Worrell, and I'm going to perform that part of my duties, which make it a great pleasure for me to be mayor of this little community.
It doesn't pay much, Judd, but the fringe benefits are amazing. Our queen, Erica Vasquez. Daryl has performed in all 50 states. Not a little cowboy around this country, ran a clip going in Deming. He's had a very, very full life. And he enjoys every day of it, I can tell you, I know him personally.
The Chili Queen is just someone that came up to, it's actually an educational thing. We started that years ago as an educational process so that the kids, the girls who were running for queen, had to do research and find out a little bit about chili, how it's grown, where it's grown. Most of them having a connection to it right in the valley because their parents either grew it or harvested it.
My friend's aunt runs the whole Chili Queen. And I was walking through the hall and she's all, well, you should sign up. I was like, what am I signing up for? She's all, Chili Queen. I was like, all right. So I came home, ran, got ready like in 10 minutes, and went to the pageant and just did good. I just went up there, not very prepared, and smiled and talked to everyone.
The Hatch Chili Festival has been around for as long as I can remember. I can't specifically cite the year it started. I thought it was going to be this huge festival, that was, I don't know what I thought, but I just thought it was going to be much bigger than it was. In this case, it was very small, very charming. And then the biggest thing involved was the Hatch Chili Cook-Off.
Are we ready?
Okay.
All right, everybody step back a little bit, more people can see. You eat all of the chili, you don't have to eat the stem, you eat all the chili, just eat the whole nine deals. They do know how to eat their chili. They are wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
But listen, those stems...
When you get through, you throw your hands up and open your mouth. Your mouth has got to be clear. Clean, you got to have her down the hatch.
Get your hands up. Put your hands up, put your hands up.
All right!
Oh, how I love chile verde, that chile verde, que chile verde. Oh, how I love chile rojo, el chile rojo, buen chile rojo. Me gustó mucho el chile verde, el chile verde, el chile verde.
Chile is kind of an institution for Hatch. We've called ourselves the chili capital of the world for, going on 40 years now, which is just a good variety of chili that grows around here, and it's a combination of the temperature and the soil and the water content, and it gives us a real outstanding chili that can be noted, if you will, from other different localities. It's quite similar to, I believe, there's an onion that's grown back in the on the East Coast someplace. I won't mention the name of it, but Hatch chili is kind of the same way. It's just a little extra special.
We got people that come from all over the world. We've had film crews in from Canada, from Korea, from Japan, besides our own food channels and travel networks and stuff like that. So we're pretty well known.
I saw some people walking around red-faced from the heat, and I was like, well, may I ask where you're from? And they were from Alaska. I was surprised, very surprised, because I wouldn't think someone from Alaska would come all the way down here just for chili. But I wouldn't blame them. The chili's great.
I always ask for red on enchiladas, and green, of course, in my green chili stew. For huevos rancheros, I get Christmas. You'll find it in my chocolate candy too. I roast 100 pounds most every autumn. By January 1, I need some more. I'm devoted to the fruit they call the chili. Capsicum is what I'm living for.